Hello and welcome. If you are a network administrator or cybersecurity guy, you definitely need to have an understanding for an application called Wireshark. Wireshark is a packet capturing software, and we can use Wireshark in order to capture network traffic and also do a kind of analysis for this traffic. By using this analysis, we can figure out what are the kind of problems that could exist in our network, and in some cases, we can also gain understanding for what is really happening or what is going on in our network. So, in this video, we will describe all what you need to know about Wireshark to begin your journey with this amazing application. Let's start with a quick introduction about Wireshark and what are the use cases of it. So essentially, Wireshark, as we mentioned, is a back capture software with a graphical user interface. We have many kinds of graphical or many kinds of capturing software such as TCP-dump, for example, T-Shark, but both of these solutions are a kind of packet capturing solution that use command line interface. But the case in Wireshark is that Wireshark is a graphical user interface capturing software. It is vendor agnostic. It can work in Windows and Linux machines without no issue. So we have a Linux version for Wireshark as well as for Windows, and also packet capture that packet capturing generate what is called a PCAP file, and this PCAP file can be used by different kind of capturing software in order to do a kind of analysis for this traffic. It can be used for learning and understanding how network protocols are really working, and it can give you a lot of capabilities to allow you analyze the traffic in a more educative format. So let's begin understanding about how to use Wireshark by explaining what the application looks like and what are the core components of this application. So in order to start Wireshark, all what you need to do is to open or click on the icon of Wireshark on your PC or in your Linux desktop. To install Wireshark, this is a different topic, but the installation of Wireshark is very straightforward, and we may have a lot of documentation that describe how installation can be done. However, installation is very straightforward if you are asking about it. And in case you are using Kali Linux come with Wireshark pre-installed on this machine. So if you are using a pre-configured operating system for ethical hacking such as Kali Linux, you will have Wireshark is automatically installed. So in order to start Wireshark on Windows environment, we just will click on the icon, and in order to describe what we have here in place, the first thing that you could mention is when you open Wireshark, you open the application in the welcome page, and in welcome page you will find listing of all interfaces that are currently exist on the system. So in case you need to do a kind of packet sniffing for the traffic that moving over your Wi-Fi, so in this case you need to hover or click on the Wi-Fi icon and then click start from this part in the screen, or you can double click on the Wi-Fi, and as you can see now, you will start to capture the traffic that is passing through your Wi-Fi adapter. Whenever you start capturing using Wireshark, you will mention that you have 3 elements in the screen or in the capturing. Let's try to make the capturing looks bigger just to define what we are seeing here on the screen. So the first ban or the first component or element in Wireshark software is what's called the packet list. And in packet list, you will find list of packets that are traversing your network device or traversing your network interface. And as you can mention, or as you can see here, you have rows by rows, and each row consider a single packet. And in each packet, you will have an information. Let me explain it in more illustrative way. We are here started capturing on our Wi-Fi interface. So as we are capturing a lot of traffic, I will just press stop, and by using stop icon, I will stop receiving further more traffic, just to explain what we are currently see on the screen. So as you can see here, first thing is that for each row, it is considered a single packet, and each packet have a kind of time when did the Wireshark application received this packet. And you will find source IP address and you will find as well destination IP address, and also you will find information about the protocol, whether this protocol is TCP or UDP, and in some cases Wireshark can also show you that it is an HTTP traffic or telnet traffic, although it is still working on TCP, but it provides a kind of naming or a kind of translation for well-known protocols such as Telnet, DNS, SSH, and so on. And as you can see here on the screen, we have like NetBIOS name service, we have TCP protocol, and we have also UDP protocol. We can also find lengths, and in length column, we can gain more information about how long or what is the length of this particular packet or particular frame in general. And then we will have like a destination port. So we here have like the destination port directly. We don't find the source port here in place. And then we will have like an info column. And in this info column, you will find another or a detailed information about what this packet is really about. So for example, if you can see here, we have MDNS protocol, and in MDNS protocol, the destination port is 5353, and you will find a description for what is inside this MDNS protocol packet. And as you can see here, you will find a standard query for a PTR DNS record to this domain name and so on. So this is the bucket listing, and this bucket listing or the bucket list is very customizable. And let me show how we can customize this part. For example, I can assign or I can fix the column width, and also I can do a kind of sorting. So in case I need to do a sorting based on time, so all what I have to do is just to click on the time here in the column of time. If I need to sort as per the length, I can do this also by clicking here on the length, but the most perfect or the most appropriate way is to filter or is to sort based on timing. I can also do a kind of adding more data, such as if I need to hide the info, so I can hide the info. But if I need to add the info once again, so all what I need to is to add the info once again. And I can also add the missing data to appear in the column. For example, if I need to make the source port appear in the packet capturing, I can simply move to the packet detail, which is the second pane or the second section in the packet capturing software. And I believe we can find the source port in any TCP packet. So we need to make sure that we are standing on a TCP protocol message. So in TCP message, I believe we will hit this one. And in transmission control protocol, we will hover on the source port, and then we will do a kind of right click. And in right click, we can see that we need to apply this as a column. And when we do so, we will find a new column that has been added to our Wireshark application, and this column is related to source port. So you can move this column in the way or to the location that you would like to set this column at. So I believe we have a kind of a lot of details about the data included, but here I can move the source port, and let's see that I need to do, or I need to place the source port before the destination port. So as you can see here, you will find the source port, length, and destination port. And you can definitely do this thing on any other field that can be appeared in the packet detail. So if you need to appear the same way as I did here, a column that includes the host information, I can add the word host in and apply it as a column. If I need to provide or have a column that identify the IP packets with don't fragment set is included or set in the IP packet, I can also apply it as a column. So the packet detail section is very customizable. The second section is the packet detail, and in packet detail you will find an in-depth overview and in-depth description for what is included in the packet you just saw. In the first section here, we saw like a summary for the packet listing. What are the packets that are traversing without too much details. But in packet details, we will find a lot of details about each packet. So we can find information about the total frame. So here we have a kind of frame, and this frame is total is 54 bytes. Of course, we have like 80 bytes for the Ethernet frame, and we have like 16 for the IP header, and 20 if we are working with TCP. So will have like a total size of the frame itself. And here we have the Ethernet frame, and the in Ethernet section we will find source and destination MAC address. And also, if we try to explain more about this frame or this Ethernet frame, we will find also the type or the Ether type. And as you can see here, the Ether type is 0 hex 800, which means it include or the next layer protocol is IP version 4. If we have ARPA protocol, we will have like 806. So the Ether type can provide more information. And if we are monitoring a trunk interface, we could see the .1q tag as well is existing here. So the next part is the Internet Protocol version 4, and this is the layer 3, which include the IP header information. And in IP header information, we will see the same details that you are expecting to see in case you doing a kind of analysis for IP header. As you can remember, the IP header or the IP packet is essentially looks like this, and the same let's say the same sorting or the same way that IP header is shown in Wireshark is the same way that you saw in your CCNA or Network Plus training. So you start by version, then Internet header length, then the TOS or type of service or the DSCP field, then you will go to the total length. This is the same way or essentially the same content that you are expecting to see in Wireshark. So you will find a lot of information about IP packet, and lastly you will find source and destination. And in case you need to show the time to live as a column, all what you need to know is just to click on this part and tell that apply as a column. You can also apply it as a filter, so you can filter based on a specific rules or based on specific content. So in case you need to do a kind of filtering based on a particular source, you can just right click on this IP address or in this field and then type apply or click on apply as a filter, selected apply on the filter. So you will have auto-generated of the filter that matching exactly the source IP address. So this is a very good example for how to use filtering in case you don't know how to filter. So you can do the concept of apply as a column or apply as a filter in multiple solutions or in multiple scenarios in case you are not using or you are not still not familiar by how to using Wireshark filters. So Wireshark, as you can see, provide you with a great information and in-depth information about what you are seeing. So this is our first part. We just was describing how to use Wireshark or what are the components of Wireshark. Of course, we have a lot of details here in case we want to see the packet bytes, and in packet bytes we are essentially seeing the packet information in bit or in a kind of binary overview. So here we have like a binary information that are related to this packet, and here we have like the ASCII encoding or ASCII decoding for this binary information. So usually I don't use the packet bytes too much. I usually rely on packet details, or packet list and packet detail. So in case you need to make the screen bigger, or in case you need to remove the unneeded information from the Wireshark, all what you need to know to do is click on view, and then you can remove the check mark from the packet bytes. And in this case, you will find only two sections in the Wireshark application: the packet list and the packet details. So let's go further and let's see a practical example for Wireshark by analyzing a pre-existing packet capture file. In case you need to save the packet capture file, in case you need to do a kind of saving for this packet capture, all what you need to know to do is click save, and by clicking save you will just give this file a name, and this you will save this file. You have multiple ways to save this file with. You can saved by extension of bcap, which is default, but the default now is bcap next generation. And you can google what is the difference between the normal bcap file and bcap ng. You will find that in bcap ng you can do a kind of marking for the buckets, placing comments for each bucket. So in case you are doing a kind of analysis, you can simply go to a certain bucket and just right click, and then you will see that you need to set a kind of comment for this bucket. So in case you need to do a comment, and in case you need this comment to be visible after saving the bucket capture, you need to ensure that you are saving your bucket capture in the bcap ng format. So in Wireshark, we will open an existing trace file for Wireshark, and let me show what is the trace file that we are going to use in this video. The trace file is essentially a pre-captured bucket capture using any bucket capturing software, which we can then rely on to do a kind of training on Wireshark. So this website, which is called tcpreplay.appneta.com, include two great trace files that you can use and do a kind of analysis and do a kind of training on Wireshark. The first file is called smallflow.bcap, and second file is called bigflow.bcap. Smallflows.bcap is 9 megabytes file, and this will be helpful and will be more easy to inspect and check and also load on my computer. So in Wireshark, I have the smallflow.bcap file already downloaded before. So I will click on Open Recent, and then I will select smallflow. And when you do so, you are essentially opening a pre-captured packet file, and this capture file is smallflows. So let's see what this file is about. This file includes a lot of information about protocols that were working in a real-life environment. So in case you need to gain a kind of holistic overview about what this traffic is about, you can rely on the statistics field, or you can rely on the statistics tab in Wireshark. And in statistics tab, you have a lot of options that help you in analyzing and visualizing the data that you are currently seeing in Wireshark. So for example, if you need to understand what was the main conversations that was happening between different PCs inside the network, in this case, you need to click on the conversation, and voila, you will find a like of description about what are the traffic or what are the conversations that was happening in this network. So in case you need to see the IP version 4 conversation as a whole, you need to click on this tab. So as you can see here, you will find list of IP version 4 conversations, including the total bytes of the packet, the number of packets that were related to this conversation, the source port, destination port, source IP, and destination IP, as well as the total duration of this stream, or the total duration of this conversation. As well as you will also not only find the total length or the total size of this conversation, but also you will find as well how much was sent from the source to the destination and the reverse. So as you can see here, we have the whole conversations that were happening in this network, and you can simply do a kind of sorting based on bytes, for example. So whenever you do a kind of sorting based on byte, you will find a lot of information, or you will gain an information about which two devices were consuming the network bandwidth the most. Be aware that whenever you run Wireshark on your PC, you are essentially capturing the traffic that is passing from your local or your own network card. But in case you are analyzing or need to capture the network traffic that is passing through the network, you need to do this capture from an intermediate network device such as router or firewall. The modern firewall and next generation firewall such as Fortinet, Cisco, Palo Alto provide you the functionality of doing back capture. However, this functionality should be used in troubleshooting and with approval, or in announced window, because this functionality may impact the performance of your box or your hardware. Or other way to do a packet capture in production environment is by using switchport analyzer or span. If you are familiar with Cisco, if you are familiar with Cisco switching, you may understand, or you may heard about the term span or switchport analyzer before. but if not, try to do a research about it. So as you can see here in the conversation based on IP version 4 addresses, we have a full list of conversations that were based on IP version 4. And also you can find the same for IPv6, the same for TCP. So we are here essentially selecting only conversations that were related to TCP protocol. And here we have also UDP. You can do any kind of this or do your search, and you can also start, or you can do a kind of copy or export for this data in CSV format. So you can copy this data as a CSV, and then you can open your Excel sheet, and using Excel you can simply paste this data again here. So whenever you do so, you will find the data ready in Excel format. So another interesting feature in the statistics is by using endpoints, but in endpoints you will find details about each IP address, what the total data that were sent or received to this IP address, as well as TCP and UDP and so on. Another interesting part in statistics, it is full of great utilities, is the IO graph. And the input-output graph will show you like a details about a specific kind of protocol or a specific filter. So assuming that here in our example, we need to do a kind of filtering for the HTTP traffic only. So what I need to do is by either typing the word HTTP in the search filter here, and be aware that whenever you are trying to do or write anything in this particular box, this box will show you or will appear in red color as long as you are not fully writing the filter in a good way. But whenever write the filter in a good way, the box will turn to green. In some cases, the box may turn or look in yellow, but in this case, it means it will not produce a high reliable result. So whenever you are writing filters, please make sure that the box of this filter is appearing in the green color. So here I am using a filter of HTTP to see what are kind of HTTP traffic that are appearing in the network. So based on this filter, I can click on statistics, IO graph, and then I can as well add the plus icon here, and in plus icon here I will click on display filter. This is an empty area here, and then I will click the same filter that I was just added in the previous example, and then I will select a color for this filter like green, and then I will click here on the check mark. So as you can see here, the IO graph has been updated, and I will try to remove all previous check marks. And as you can see here, this is like the IO graph for the IP version 4 or the HTTP traffic in the network. Try to do so with different kind of protocols to have a kind of prediction what is the most traffic that is passing in your network. So the same way you can do a kind of next add and then type the word UDP, and then you can select a color for this UDP protocol and then click here on the check mark. So you will have like a comparison between the HTTP and the DNS or the UDP traffic in real time. So the statistics part in Wireshark is very interesting, and it is introduced in the newer versions of Wireshark. It has been here for a long period. However, not many people are using it on daily basis. You will find a lot of information, as well as, for example, the service response time, which simply do a kind of evaluation when the request has been received by Wireshark and when the reply for this request has been received by Wireshark as well. So it do a kind of time delta analysis, and based on that, it can provide you with information about the service response time. We can also have another interesting option, which is the flow graph. And in flow graph, I can click here on limit to display filter, and when I click limit to display filter, it will essentially make the data appear here related to the filter that I just typed or that I just wrote on the screen. So whenever I click on this part, that will mean it will take this filter and apply it, and I will see only data related to this filter instead of seeing the whole traffic of the network. So Here when we try to click on the limit to display filter, I will only see the flow graph related to the HTTP traffic. So for professionals that are doing a kind of troubleshooting for HTTP based request, and remember, this can be applicable and will produce a great result if we are inspecting a clear text protocol such as HTTP, Telnet, FTP. However, in Wireshark, we have a mechanism or a capability to do a kind of traffic decryption while capturing, but this will consider or will need a kind of extra configuration and will work on the level of a certain machine if you are doing a packet capture from your own PC, not from the network, unless you have a kind of SSL offloading device that do a kind of SSL decryption in your network. So the statistics field have a lot of interesting information, and I believe you need to visit it, and you will find a lot of information. If you are capturing VoIP traffic, you have also a specific tab for VoIP traffic. And using this tab, you can inspect the VoIP calls that are happening in the network. For example, in case you need to test this function, you can simply go to the Google website and you will try to find a VoIP bcap file. So you can find a lot of websites that present a kind of samples or bcap samples that can be downloaded, and then you can test this bcap file. So essentially, in this blog that I just opened, we have a kind of description or a kind of information about how to analyze the VoIP traffic. And when you use the VoIP analysis in the statistics tab, you will find an image like this. And in this image, as you can see, you have a kind of audio waves, and you can hear the voice that was part of his conversations. This is a good reason that we say you need to do a kind of segmentation for your voice and user data traffic to ensure that whenever someone do a kind of man-in-the-middle attack, he or she will not be able to intercept this traffic. So we have a lot of data or a lot of details to discuss here, but mainly that's what I was just trying to mention about the statistics and the telephony. We have also another interesting tools in Wireshark, such as the firewall ACL rule. So in case you are using a firewall administrator such as Cisco ASA, you need to do a kind of access control list, and you need to understand what is the particular ACL line that need to be in place to permit or block this line of traffic. So all what you need to do is just click on this line and click on tools, and then click on firewall ACL rules, and then select Cisco iOS extended. So in this case, if you need to do a kind of access list to deny this traffic, you will need to write this part. So you are simply, this is the syntax that can be written using Cisco iOS to do a kind of blocking for this traffic based on multiple scenarios. So you just need to identify what do you need to do. Do you need to do a kind of deny for the destination or deny to the source? So in this case, or in this line, the source was 192.168.3.131 and the destination port was 570.011. So this is a great and beneficial tool to be used in this case. Also in Wireshark, we have a lot of filters, and these filters can also help you in identifying problems and do a kind of searching in the bcap file to make your data convenient and make your analysis much easier. For example, if you need to search for packets that associated with a certain IP address, whether this IP address has been appeared in this packet either in source or in destination, or what you need to do is to type your filter, which is IP ADDR, and then double equal, and then you need to type the IP address. So in my case, I will type the IP address 192.168.3.131 and then click enter. If in this case, as you can see here, you will find that all packets that are currently on the screen have the IP address 192.168.3.131 either in source or in destination. And in case you need to show all packets that was not including 192.168.3.131 in either source or destination, so we are here speaking about negating or disable or removing any packet or any row that include this IP address in either source or destination. In this case, you are using the filter in a reverse way. So all what you need to do is to do or to add an exclamation mark before the filter. So when you do so, you will find that all received packets on the screen does not include this IP address either in source or in destination. In case you need to show this IP address but in source address only, so all what you need to do is to type IP dot source dot the filter in this case will be IP source double equal, which means equal 192.168.3.103. I believe this IP address does not exist, so let's do a kind of clear for all filters, and the IP address is 192.168.3.131. So I will type IP.source double equal 192.168.3.131 and then I will click enter. And as you can see here, you will find all rows or all buckets have this IP address in source. The same way if I need to show all packets with this IP address as a destination. So I will simply replace the word source or src by dst, and then I will click enter. And as you can see here, you will find this IP address or the specific IP address as a destination. And remember, this double equal sign may be replaced by this word, by the word EQ. And in this case, I will have the same output or the same outcome of EQ. I may also use the word NEQ or not equal, but in this case, I need to add the exclamation mark before the filter. So in this case, I am using or I am applying this filter in a reverse direction. We have a lot of filters that can be used by Wireshark, but I prefer to leave it in a different video. This video is just like an introduction for Wireshark and what are the different capabilities. And as you said, or as you saw during the video, you don't need me to explain the different filters that you can use, because simply based on the information that you can see here in all of these packet details information, you can do a kind of filtering based on it. So for example, if you need to filter the traffic based on a specific user agent, you can click here on user agent and type apply as a filter. So when you do this kind of thing, you will find all packets that were related or were using this specific user agent. So you need to be more let's say thinking out of the box. Try to find the information by yourself, and then you will find a lot of filters that you don't need to memorize it in order to use it in a proper way. Just think about the packet details and see what are the elements that can be used as a filter. One of the tools that can be also used by Wireshark to identify the issues of the network, such as the problem of retransmission, which means we have a problem in the TCP communication, is the TCP analysis flags. And TCP analysis flags will show you a lot of information about different issues in TCP. And mainly we are here speaking about the TCP retransmission. But the bad thing here is the TCP analysis flags, although it make you see the issues in TCP such as transmission or unseen segments, for example, but also it allows you to see the TCP window update. And TCP window update is a normal behavior in TCP communication. So in case we need to remove the TCP window update from the TCP analysis flags, we can add the word and then we can add TCP analysis, and then we will type window update underscore update like there. So simply here I am showing only TCP analysis flags, and I am removing by adding this mark before the TCP analysis window update. Then I will click enter. I will see only the TCP analysis flags. that is related or based on problems in the TCP or communication. So that was all for this video. I hope it was informative, and as I mentioned, it is just like a description or introduction to Wireshark. We have also another video that we will describe some of practical filters that we need to take in account when using Wireshark in analysis network traffic. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.